Hi folks, it's so nice to see you. Thanks everyone who's joined. Hi Dave, hi Jay, hi Brian, hi Richard. Yeah, thanks so much for joining me. Welcome back. It's Saturday afternoon, and today I thought it would be nice, instead of doing like lots of little things, I'm going to just work on one piece for the whole session. So hopefully I've made a few improvements, like my lip sync is better. You should be able to see my canvas. I'm going to just move over there so you can see that if you're watching on Instagram. So this is the canvas that I'm going to be using. I thought it would be fun to use a linen one. So it's gessoed with see-through gesso instead of white. I just thought that might be nice. It sort of matches the tone of the reference photo. So there's that. I will talk you through my materials, which are here. Oh, Brian, it's not very expensive. It's Loxley, I think. Yeah, it does look expensive, doesn't it? Yeah, but it's not. So what else have I got to show you? Oh yes, so let's have a look at the reference photos. So this is a very famous Picasso painting, and I have to say we can have an ugly fight about Picasso. I'm not really a great fan of Picasso, although he is growing on me. And by the way, please tell me volume-wise. Oh, I should turn that music down. And yeah, real apologies. Last week I didn't realise I hadn't loaded up a full soundtrack, so you had to listen to the same piece of guitar music the whole 2 hours. I'm really sorry. You know, you can tell me if there's stuff like that that's completely like crap, just tell me. Because I want this to be nice for you. So, right, I hope everyone's all right. Everyone in the UK, I know it's really wet and grizzly, so what nicer thing to do than be together in our comfortable, warm and hopefully at our easels. But this isn't particularly going to be something that I will be pressing you to paint or draw along. Oh, thanks, Brian. Yeah, it's very nice, isn't it? But I think it's nice to not have the same piece for 2 hours. If Paul comes to watch, he usually puts Depeche Mode on in the background. There's no accounting for taste. Okay, so here's the blank canvas, quite literally. So I thought what might be nice to do would be to start by looking at the reference photo here. And so I can cycle through. If you look on my, oh, hello Yesterday, lovely to see you. Let me just come, Yesterday, where are you watching? Are you watching on YouTube? Oh, you're watching on YouTube, that's brilliant, so I can wave to you. Yesterday, I love your red trees. They're absolutely beautiful, and that's so cool about the blue, so thank you. Brian, Yesterday, I commend her to you on Instagram. She's fabulous. And Yesterday, the other way, Brian does some great oil still lives. So yeah, Picasso. Right, so what I thought we could do would be to analyse this picture for a little bit, just to try and isolate what it is that he's done, and then I was going to try and reproduce it. Oh, you're heading towards Glastonbury, right, cool. Sorry, I can't, let me just move that down and then we can see. Hi Paul, it's so nice to see you, thanks so much for joining. Right, are you watching on your data, Paul? You'll use up loads of data. You can always watch it back on YouTube. Right, so let me go back to this wonderful painting. So what I thought, I'm not going to put a figure in it. I thought I'd cut my cloth, and I will get painting in a minute, so I need to set up my colours. So I've chosen some colours that vaguely match kind of earthy tones. I've got a viridian green, a raw umber, a burnt umber, which is darker and cooler, a yellow ochre, and flake white rather than titanium white, because I think this is quite a kind of warm picture. So, oh yes, yesterday, you and Brian, I think you get on very well. Anyway, so this is, so it does vary, obviously different cubists do things different ways, but I noticed some things about this. So some things are quite literal on this painting. So like the arm is really quite, you know, cylindrical and 3D, and it's rendered as a pretty normal 3D form. And if you look at the background, those to me look fairly random. So I was thinking I might maybe put some music in, because sometimes they put scored music, so I might just do a bit of random scored music. And Oh, here comes my tea delivery. Hello tea, thank you. That's the man of my dreams there. And then it's just broken up, and obviously I think you probably all know that the key thing with Cubism is it's about looking round the subject. So what I've done is I've taken some photos of my teenager's idol guitar that is lying completely fallow, and I've taken them from a few different angles. So we've got these, if you want to have a go either now or later, and you can also do this drawing, actually is quite a good exercise if you want to just have a play, just to kind of so cubists tend to try and show, you know, different angles on the one thing, and it's kind of fragmented. The other thing I was going to look at on this picture was the use of, because I'm always banging on about light and shade, so the use of the a directional light source. And I would say Picasso in this one, he does actually have kind of light coming from the left on most of the squares. It looks like it's a mandolin, so it looks like there's a little bit of bounced light on the bottom of the mandolin. I don't know if you can see that, hopefully. But then in some of the shapes, particularly the background shapes, he's kind of abandoned that directional light, and they're much more randomly shaded. And apart from that, it's mostly angular with a few curves. So yeah, so I thought we'd just get started, and you can watch me make lots of mistakes. Yeah, and if you type things in the chat, then everyone should be able to see them, because I've got the chat coming up. I'll just put something in so you can see. So you can say hello there. The only people I should say, I'm really sorry, I can't get that working on Instagram. So he shaded the right side darker for the, yes. Yes, right, Brian, that's a really good point. So yeah, so I can see, let me see on Instagram, I can see the feed on Instagram, so I can see if you put comments in, but they don't go on that there. But otherwise we can all speak to each other, so I encourage you to chat if you want. Yeah, so let's have another look at that reference. Yes, so exactly as Brian is saying, in the background, Picasso has kind of set those shadows to make the feature pop forward, so I would probably look to do that with the guitar as well. Okay, so let's go to the drawing board. Here we are, and then hopefully you can also see my paints there if you're watching on Instagram. So looking at colour, I'm going to mix up some colours. I'm not going to assume loads of oil painting knowledge, so I apologise in advance if you are already, as I know Brian and yesterday you are very proficient in oils, but everybody has their different things, so maybe you might pick up, you never know, you might pick something up from me. And please put some tips in, so if you see me doing something that you think there's a better way, I'm really keen to learn. The first thing I should say is probably I should open the door and not really be doing this in such an unventilated room, but I've got a window up behind the camera as well. So in here I've got something called Zest It, and Zest It, you can use it as a paint thinner. It smells orangey, it's not too noxious, but I just keep the lid on, and I've got this contraption, it's brilliant, from Bristol Fine Art, and in it, I saw this from Tom Hughes, I don't know if you can see, actually let's hold it up like this, then you can see. So it's got that, and it's really good for washing your brushes, because all the sludge sits at the bottom. So I use that quite a lot. I'm going to be using just plain, this is Winsor & Newton normal liquid, so you can get fine detail liquid. Oh, you've ordered some gouache. Oh, cool. Or gouache. I get told off by my daughter for how I present. Yeah, I think they're beautiful. Gouache, lovely for sort of poster style. They might be quite good for this actually, but for flat colours they're amazing, aren't they? Right, so I'm going to use a bit of liquid. So the main thing that liquid does is you can use it to kind of dilute the paint a little bit, so the oil pigment isn't really strong. I've got this little pot here, it's got 3, let me see, where's the lens? There. Okay, so I'm going to put my liquid in there. Right, I probably don't need that. Okay, so the one thing I do find with this canvas is that it is a bit shiny, to the extent that sometimes the first layer just kind of bounces off a bit. So I haven't really got on with these very well, and what I have done in the past was I show you, hopefully I've got there. See, I don't know if you can see that that portrait. Well, I used the same canvas as this, and I gessoed a white area in the middle and then painted on that. So I know Brian, you do as well, Cesar Santos, I think. I know we're both Proco fans, and I've seen him do that, and I really like the effect. But I'm going to try painting straight onto this canvas this time. So let's do that. And let me know. Oh right, yeah. Great minds. So right. So I'm going to try and remember to keep the lid on that pot when I can. Right. I'm going to move that little bit of chat so that people on Instagram can hopefully see it. So at least they can see what we're talking about, even if they can't talk in. Right, so let's just move on to, I'm going to look at a guitar photo. So in the references for people on Instagram, I'm going to start by looking at this straight one. And I'm going to use a simple mix, a kind of watered down mix, which will dry quicker. So I'm literally just doing a sketchy draw, and I tend to do that in burnt umber. I don't know, it's just a funny thing. You get stuck on your favourite. Although I find it very cool. I know a lot of people use raw umber for if they do underpainting. I don't know what you guys use. I'd be interested to know what colour. Some people use Viridian, don't they? Sometimes they use green for what's it called, a verdi instead of a grisaille. Gris is French for grey, so they do a verdi. And I did a portrait using green as the under, just as a word of warning. Using green as the underpainting, and I showed the customer, I said, just to let you know, this is the first stage, don't be alarmed. And he said, apart from the obvious resemblance to any character in Day of the Dead, it looks great. And it took me many layers to lose the greenness, so I think I should have put more white in it. Anyway, we're not doing that today. I'm just using this for kind of drawing. But I am going to just draw with the brush. Okay, so let's see. Bit of squinting. Oh, I might have to put my glasses on. Right. Okay, so if you're, I can adjust things like focus and stuff like that. So, right, I'm not going to do anything too creative in terms of, I'm basically going to plonk it pretty much in the middle. So I'm looking for, you know, like in that, let's see, like in that Picasso, there is definitely a sense of a kind of fairly correct shape for the main frame, and then he seemed to disrupt it. And I know some later ones, it's less easy to detect detect the shape of the subject, and that the subject itself is more distorted. But I think I might just start, because I'm such an incorrigible realist, like that. It's quite nice not to be having to, so I don't know if you can see, let me move that a bit closer. Can you see it's kind of, it's sort of not quite soaking in, which I think is probably okay. But we'll see. Right, I will just move that. Oops. Let me just move that out of the way for Instagrammers. There. Okay, now this is the fun bit then. So we've got I've got a straight thing like that. I wonder if you play the guitar, any of you. Right, and we've got this going on. Okay, so now one of the things which works quite well is repeating shapes. So I'm thinking, you know, just repeating that edge like that there. And then what I'm going to do is kind of connect these shapes up. And just do it. So I'm using almost completely Zest It because that will dry really quickly. I'll just put the lid on though. No. Right, and let's move to another reference photo. Okay, so just for Instagram, that's the reference photo I'm using now. So I'm just looking at the side, and I'm going to look at that curve down there. So you can see the neck is a really nice shape. So let's go back to the painting, and I'm going to try and pick out that shape there. Like, so it's straight and it goes a really nice like that. I like that curve there. And it's got a, so it's like one of those shapes that you see in the Cubist paintings. You know, they're like jigsaw pieces in a sense. So I think that will be a shape like that. Right, let's go for a bit more paint. Now I think we're going to need to get some of those bits of the twiddly bits that you twiddle to tune the guitar. So let's move that on. So I've got that close up. Okay, let's put a few of those in. I put them going to be a little bit random here. There. And I'm going for some repeating again. I think this whole repeating idea. So I'm kind of mapping out a few key bits, and then I will and then I'm going to connect them and then shade them, is my thought. So just taking a little bit more. I'm just using burnt umber at the moment as a drawing thing. So I'm just kind of committing a little bit more. So I'm really starting to kind of look at this as a pattern. So this shape here is a repeat of this shape here. Might even go so far as to repeat the neck there. Okay, let's have that. These are the keys. Or I don't know what they're called. Does anyone know what these are called? The tuning things. I'm going to just carry that straight on there randomly. I know they're not that long. Okay, and then this is the shape of the neck here. Okay. Right, let's have another look at the image for the guitar. Right, I'm just looking at the proportions of the neck. Okay, let's show, there we are. So I also quite like the way it's got holes in it. So I'm going to do some of those. Let's get some more dilute. So let's now just a second looking at the Picasso. I'm conscious that if you look, he's got the main shape there is quite big, and then all the other stuff is kind of smaller and less contrasty, as you picked out, Brian. So I'm thinking that these are going to be darker and this will be lighter, this section in the centre. But for now I'm just going to pick out shapes. I'm tempted to kind of repeat this again. Don't know why. I know he... Right, where shall I go with it? Maybe even like this. There. And then in a second I'm going to just start treating it as abstract shapes, and then start breaking it up. Okay, so he's got quite a lot of detail, which I will put in later, hopefully. Let's put a bit of flourish there. Right. Oh, thank you, Brian. Oh, they're pegs. Okay, thank you. Right, my very, very knowledgeable chatter Brian tells me they're called pegs, so thanks, Brian. Let's go back to the drawing board. Quite literally. Okay, so let's do that. I hope you're going to have a go at some point. I know Paul will. I can rely on Paul to have a go. He always has a go. Okay, so let's look at segmenting some of these. So now I'm looking, I'm comparing with the Picasso, and I'm going to try and basically block in some background behind the guitar, like in that negative space under the girl's arm and under her breast. So that space there, I'm going to try and translate onto here. So now that I'm doing a bit more painting, I am still going to stick with this. Oh, I might cool this down a little bit. Right, let me just mix it. I'll do a little bit of mixing. You're a have a go guy. Yes, you are. I know. You really are. Yes. Your lino cut's looking amazing, Paul, now that you've got it the right way around. Brian, Paul is such a trooper. He went and had he had a go at the lino cut. Paul, can I say what you did? I'm going to wait for your permission before I tell everybody. But we all do it. Everybody's done it. Anyone who does any serious lino cutting will sympathise. So right, while I wait for Paul's approval, I'm going to just block in some. Right, and I'm going to move that reference photo to the guitar just so I can check the shape. Okay. Right, let's mark out that side. Go for a little bit more dark. And I'm using the liquid partly because it makes it dry quicker as well. It's got it's called Cicative in it. Okay. There's a nice shape. It's definitely, Cubism is really nice for negative shapes. What do you like about Cubism yesterday? And have you ever tried it, I wonder? I bet you have. Our mutual friend Sarah Manolescu, she was saying she did some Cubism. Is that a yes? I have your permission, Paul. Okay, right. Paul said I can. So in the interests of saving other people, Paul very unfortunately made the amateur mistake of putting his, he was doing a lino cut and he had some text in it. It was Japanese text, but and he did it the wrong way round. So when he forgot that it flips round. But purists, actually, some purists, particularly if you're doing, say, landscapes and things, I have heard it said that they get very annoyed with collectors if they protest. So if they say do a drawing of a lino cut of a lino cut of a building on commission, I've heard that, you know, they can get quite cross if the customer says, hang on a minute, it's the wrong way around. So purists might say that it's fine, but I don't think Paul thought it was fine, did you, Paul? Anyway, right. Okay, so this is starting to look a bit like a guitar. There. Right, I'm going to just randomly put a line to there. And I'm going to try, I think, like the Picasso, I think he reserved the curves for the subject, and pretty much, apart from sort of on the far right above the neck of the mandolin, in this picture, most of the background is straight lines. So where I've got some content, I'm going to leave it curvy, but I'm actually going to try and do straight lines for, let's move that, I'm just going to move that out of the way so you can see. Right, so yeah, they're not kind of 90 degrees, are they? And they almost look like sheets of paper on stuff. I think you were using very difficult lino, Paul. I think the lino that you were using was very hard. If you try the blue stuff, sorry, I should have said that before. If you try the blue stuff, it's much softer. Oh, yesterday did a footballer. Right, did a footballer 3 years ago. Oh, so did you do it more curvy than yesterday? Oh, I'd like to see that. It's surprisingly difficult, isn't it? Cubism, she said, winging it live. Right. Okay. Any top cubism tips? I'm all ears. So when you do oil painting, it's quite common to go for put the darks in first. Oh right, yeah. I'd love to see it yesterday. So I am putting this on pretty thin. So if you're not familiar with oils, you might like to know that you quite often you start with a less oily mix. So quite good to use quite a bit of paint thinner like Zest It or something. And then as you go on to and you tend to use quite transparent washes. Right, I'm going to go for, now let's see. Oh, let's get those pegs. You didn't really well, yesterday, don't mistake me for somebody who understands what they're doing. I think you probably understand as well as the next person. But yeah, right. Now, I'm just trying to work out how I changed to the scene just to show on Instagram. Right, so we're looking at these. I'm making this area here is kind of modelled on the area under Picasso's subject's arm. So I'm just going to darken that a bit, and I can refine the shading in the second hour. So really this is just planning out. But I really like this. So this curve, this neck curve here, there was a very good shape. Now I'm looking, so none of the shapes kind of continue behind the figure. They all sort of, they're dislocated. I'm just wondering, for example, this line, whether it should carry on behind here, but I don't think so. I think Right, now we've got on the guitar there are those frets. See, Brian, I know what they're called. And so I think I might allude to some frets, possibly like on here maybe with some, I don't know, this might not work, but like that. And this too, I think that sort of works. So a bit like the line drawing that we were doing, some of that random line drawing, it looks looking for shapes. Right, I'm going to make that, so we've got a shape here as well. So I'm going for a little brown just so I can see, as a reminder to myself, that I need to contrast this shape with that shape. But I might put a little bit more burnt umber. I'll just show, whoopsie, don't want that. I'm just going to move my palette here. Let's mix up a few more colours. Okay, so don't need that lid. Okay, so I'm going to add a bit more burnt umber in that reservoir there. I'm not going to go for white at the moment. The white is very opaque, and but I am going to use a bit of, this is Wallace Seymour, which is fantastic quality paint, yellow ochre light. Highly recommended by Nick in Bristol Fine Art. Nick, shout out for Bristol Fine Art. Wonderful independent art shop, very near me. Okay, right, that should do. So I am trying to sort of squint a bit and keep an eye on making sure that, like with the Picasso, the background kind of is darker. So actually these I think need to be a little bit darker, but not that dark. So, so that this neck is thrown forward. So I'm going to go in here just to try and throw that neck, that bit of the guitar forward. Okay, and I feel like I could get the circle in there possibly as a shape. I'll do that a bit more greeny because that's quite a good motif, that's the word. And I'll do it here as well. I apologise to guitar players who might find this is too far off. And if you're looking at this thinking that would never play, you're absolutely right. I quite like the way though the frets are closely spaced here, and then I think they get further spaced, they get thicker at the end. I quite like that stepping effect. Right, and Paul, are you going to the gallery? Are you on your way? Paul is I think he's on his way to go and see the exhibition at Heart of the Tribe. I've got my first, in the UK, my first show in a gallery. I had one in Dubai, but not here. So that's very exciting. So I'm going to be picking Paul's brains as to what it looked like. Right, I'm losing my contrast there. Go a bit darker, I think. And I'll just go and check this. Dubai, yes. Yeah, I was in Dubai. Did I? Sorry if I didn't cover that last time. Yeah, we lived in Dubai for 3 years. Have you been to Dubai, Brian? Do you have any connection? It's a very interesting place. I went absolutely weighed down with preconceptions, some of which did prove to be true, but many weren't. I think travel broadens the mind. Oh, did you? Oh, Brian, wow. Oh, thank you very much. I'm glad you like the painting. Right. I'm going to do a few random lines then and make, well, shapes. And I'm going to try and make maximum contrast here. I was in Dubai from 2014 to 2017. What about you? Were you working in Dubai? It's and what did you think of it? Crazy place, huh? There's nowhere like it, I don't think. Oh, you've gone to Westbury. Oh, right, okay. So, Paul, I'm dying to pick. Oh, really, Brian? Oh, Brian, wow. So you were in Dubai at school. Gosh, right. Oh, cool. I wonder if I'd know which school it was that you went. My kids went to WEC in, oh, I can't remember what the area was called. Oh, but we just missed each other. Paul, go on then, tell me what you thought of the exhibition. I'd love to know, good and bad. Right, just trying to keep a bit of distinction between, say, this echo. They're kind of echoes of the guitar. So I'm going to go greener with this one. Treat that as a shape there. Perhaps we did. I don't think we, well, maybe in 2014 we might have done. Yeah, you might have seen a very, very stressed middle-aged woman with a 2.5-year-old baby in the baking heat. It wasn't easy. You did visit? Ah, okay. So you liked it then, did you? Shouldn't put you on the spot like that. So are you in the Philippines now, Brian? Right. Ah, do you know what? That's when I went to Dubai. That's when I decided I'm going to do it and become a professional artist. Was in Dubai. A lot of people go to Dubai to realise their dreams, don't they? Okay. So I'm going to just pick out a few areas and just do some blocks of colour. And I'm going to let me just have a quick look at that Picasso. Keep an eye on the prize. Right. So, in Dubai, I was in. We were living in a place called Sakim, and we spent a lot of time on near Kite Beach, round there. But we went, like you know, it's changed a huge amount. So it really changed after we were there. Oh, there was a nice. Oh, Paul, that's really good to know. Yeah, they're really nice staff. Yeah. You'll need a new. What do you mean you'll need a new shelf? Paul, what have you done? Yeah, they're really nice, friendly people in the gallery, aren't they? So Brian, did you paint stuff in Dubai? What subject matter did you like in Dubai? I used to love camels. I painted a lot of camels, or drew a lot of camels. So this background colour, I think is pretty close to my actual canvas colour, but I am going to break it a little bit. So I'm looking at the way Picasso kind of, as I said, alluded to sort of, they look like sheets of paper. So let's just put a few of those on. And I'm going to go, I'm going to have to look at some harmonising in a minute, because this doesn't look terribly harmonious to me. Yeah, it's almost kind of bluey, and I'm going to pinch that kind of shady area up here. So Picasso did like a shadowy, shady area there. Let's get that. Oh, Paul, driving forward. Oh, that's great. They are. I will be making a donation then to the cargo organisation. So I'm so pleased. So Cargo have they are an educational charity. I think they're kind of very funded or interested by Massive Attack. I don't know if you're a Massive Attack fan. And they've been developing resources to put into Key Stage 3 schools. I'm going to do a bit more. I like those circles. Maybe not. Maybe I'm going to do some more of those. What do you think? Or just shadow? I'll maybe darken this area. Okay, let's go dark. So yeah, Cargo have created and are now pushing into schools resources redressing or attempting to redress the imbalance in the British curriculum from a history perspective, and trying to address the lack of proper teaching of black history, the transatlantic slave trade, and putting forward models of resistance and strength and power, and inspirational role models. So basically, that's their objective. So I'm just going to move over to the. And so when I did those prints, it was the first drawing, the driving forward, the one of Colston tied up. That was the day after the statue was pulled down. So Brian, I don't know if you know, I live in Bristol, Paul as well, and there was a statue of the slave trader Edward Colston, who was responsible for a lot of the funding in Bristol of a lot of municipal development, but this funding was done with the ill-gotten gains of his extremely prolific slave trading. So his statue was torn down by people who were bored of waiting for the council to get their act together. And when it was torn down, I was very moved by the images and wanted to meditate on it. So I drew a picture of his the statue using reference photos, all tied up. And then in the aftermath, lots of people got up on the vacated plinth, and including Jen Reid, and she raised a Black Power salute and was recorded, or was photographed by her husband, and then later celebrated by another artist. And so I felt as though that was a complementary image that I really wanted to put together. So when people buy one print, it's a bit silly, but I was trying to make a point, and when people were buying a print of Jen Reid on the plinth, they could also have a free one of the slave trader. So the idea was that the slave trader was given away free in a symbolic gesture of his worthlessness. Anyway, I digress. So Paul, I'm delighted that you bought that, and I hope, did they give you the free one to go with it? Because the gallery should have given you a free copy of the the Colston's print, or at least offered it, because they work together as a pair, as a historical, you know, talking of history. Right. Oh, and I know what can go here. I think a little bit of music. What do you think? A bit of a little bit, some lines maybe. I wonder if I could use this to mask. Right, I'm going to try something. Let's try. Ah, Brian, sorry, I've just seen your comment that you painted and drew some of the architecture in Dubai. Yeah, there is absolutely amazing architecture, isn't there? And did you, by any chance, join the Urban Sketchers? Because I was in the Dubai Urban Sketchers. They were a really lovely group, really nice, very, very friendly. In fact, I haven't joined them here in Bristol, but I wonder if yesterday, if you or Paul and others are in the paint and draw. Oh yeah, the souk, yeah, Bastakia. Do you mean Bastakia? Yeah, that's amazing there, isn't it? So why do you go back then, just to hang out? Or have you got family there still, Brian? Right, let's put a bit of guitar music in. I quite like those lines. Oh, good. Oh, Paul, I'm really pleased they did that. Good. There was quite a lot for them to take in terms of information from me about my work. So, oh right, yeah, you could. I think they would have had you at 14, but yeah, it's not quite the... Okay, right. I'm not feeling like the form of this is going brilliantly, but I'm just going to kill off some of these light areas because they're bothering me. Okay. Right, let's get that there. And then, so I'm using very transparent paint at the moment, very dilute. It's diluted with a mix of liquid, that's this, which is just a general medium, and Zest It. So if you want the names, just send me a DM later and I'll let you know. But Paul, thank you so much. I really appreciate you going to check out the gallery. Ryan, you went back here in the Philippines to study for college. Yeah, do you know what? I don't think I will go back to Dubai. I think I'm kind of over Dubai. You know, the whole brunches, the culture of the brunches and all that just seemed a little bit extravagant to me. But maybe. I'm very happy being back in the UK. I think there's something about being in your hometown. Right, now let's look at this composition a bit and compare it with the Picasso. So I'm just looking at how I've broken up the picture. I need to make these, I'm going to try and do a bit of shading on these so that they'll still be picked out, these pegs, but they won't be as high contrast. So I want the eye to be drawn here for contrast. So let's go. Oh, it really is, Brian. Do you ever come to the UK? Might you ever? It would be lovely to meet you. Although I feel partly like I sort of know you already with this. When you start doing your art live streamed, I can watch you. She said, hopefully. Okay, so now I still feel like I need to darken these areas here. I think this is too light. and but I don't know. Right, I think how are we doing for time? Okay, we've got just over an hour. Right. Oh, thank you, Paul. I learnt a lot. I do think travelling is very important. Very. Right, so let's start getting some contrast in, like Picasso's got in the lines, on the edges. So I think I might do a little bit more masking. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a little bit. So this this paper palette, disposable palette, I've just torn a little bit off, and I'm going to use that for masking. And I'm going to work in, hopefully, some darker edges. I hope this works. I haven't tested this. Right. It certainly is quite harmonious using just the very limited palette. Quite like that. Right, now let's get the edge of that neck of the guitar in place. So it's not coming out very dark, is it? I think this this paint is too transparent. Might have to go and get another paint. Let's see what it looks like when I peel this off. It's not. I haven't quite got that edge. Right. You'll have your gouache. Yeah. Yes, it is a bit of clean up, isn't it, with this? Right, I think what I'm going to have to do is have a rummage. Excuse me, I'm going to have a rummage in the back of my thing. I'm looking for some stronger. I think I've actually got some ultramarine, which I'm going to try and use just to it's quite dark and it mixes nicely with burnt umber to make a kind of black, a chromatic black. And I've got quite a lot of slush. Cheers. Let me have a cup of tea. Thank you, Marcus, if you're watching, for my lovely tea. Oh, ochre, black and umber. Yeah, I think you're right. I could use black. I tend to be a bit funny about black, but this is pretty close. Let's see if that goes on. Oh yeah, there we go. We've got a bit more contrast now. Okay, let's see if I can. I'm going to go in a bit closer. There. You see that? Brian, how do you get all your knowledge? You seem to know a lot about. Is it reading? Do you read, or is it YouTube, or what do you do? Because I'm very impressed. You always seem to have a lot of information at your fingertips. Let's see if that's worked. Oh, there we are. Right, lovely. Do the same on the other side. Okay. And I might look for other spots. So my guitar has got, if I look, I'll just move through the references. Ah, museums, yep, learning from looking. Get that edge. Move back a bit so you can see the edge. Let's straighten my camera up, sorry, I'm a bit funny with the camera. We're going to fall off the chair now. Right, there we go. Okay, and now I can kind of blend that down and get a bit more on my brush. Blend. How's the music, by the way? I tried last week. I did have a lovely guitar soundtrack, so I've kind of recreated it for today. But I just didn't load it up onto the streaming software. That's really not very good, is it? Right, and I'm also going to do. So I'm actually using pretty undiluted paint. Oh, thank you, Brian. I'm really pleased. Paul, have you got your you got Depeche Mode on? I did dob you in to Brian for that. Right, let's see if I can echo the shape of the side of the guitar here. And then that comes here, doesn't it, as well? It goes wide and then narrow. So I'm going to take that green here, like, and try and wipe that off. I'd quite like to get an edge here. There we go. Sometimes you just have to get your finger in, don't you? Right, and then that suggests the 3D side of the guitar, hopefully. I'm going a bit more blue now, but then, you know, Picasso was quite a fan of blue, apparently. Let's get that dark as well. I like this really dark in here. So I'm using, now on here I'm using a mix of burnt umber and ultramarine blue. Okay, so we've got some high contrast, and then we've got some high contrast here, so I might just take the moment to do that top. So this is slightly drier up here, so the paint is taking much nice, and there's, I think it's a nice sort of edge shape to this guitar. So let's go across. And I'm going to black that in. Oh yes, thank you, Brian, I would love to. And ditto if you ever come to the UK. Brian, I don't feel that Brian is necessarily your actual name, and I feel very conscious of calling you by this name, and I certainly don't mind calling you it, but I would be more than happy to try and learn to pronounce your birth name, if that would be agreeable. I used to have a lot of Filipino friends in Dubai. Oh, it is your name. Okay. That's fine then. Because when I said, "Is your name Brian?" you said, I can't remember what it was you said. It was something like, "Yes, that's fine," or something, and it made me think. I wonder if your friends call you something else. Anyway. Right, here we go. And the nice thing about this canvas is it is quite agreeable to look at, even where it's not, when it peeps through. Okay, so gyre. Oh, they call you gyre. Okay. Gyre. You can't talk on here, can you? One day, Brian, I'm going to get text to speech sorted out, but I think I need to have a bit of I have to have some. Right, I've got my cools and warms mixed up. So when you're painting, quite a lot of people use one brush for cool and one for warm, but I'm not going to do that, you won't be surprised to know. So what I'm doing is I'm just trying to match the colour of the guitar, and I'm using a very opaque paint, which is yellow ochre. and I'm going to particularly use it on this foreground one. So it's a strong colour, but it's still quite light, which I want. I don't really want to have this particular guitar recede, and I'm just looking at the edges, the curve of the edge there, and it does go, it's got a kind of warm ready element. I'll see how that mixes. It is, isn't it? It's really lovely. It's a very good quality oil paint, and I think worth the investment. And it kind of, right, so I know there's a black area across there. I might get that in because once I've got this paint, this background colour, it's going to be quite hard to go any darker, so I think I need to get that black marked out. There. And then later, right at the end, I'll go over with the opaque white, here, but that will be right at the end. Okay, let's go with a bit more. Use my. So this is this lovely brush washer, and because it's got a mesh at the bottom, you can kind of scrape your brush very nicely. Right, let's get some more colour here. Right, I'm just cutting in there, and I'm going to ignore the strings again till the end. Anyone got any tips for doing lines on pictures, especially oil? I find it really difficult to do thin lines. There's a guy I follow, Tom Hughes, who's very good, and he's got a really good contraption that he invented and sells. It's like a ruler. I haven't got it with me actually. It's really good. It's like a funny ruler with a bit of a like a nut and bolt on the end, and you hook it onto the side of your canvas, so it goes. It's very good for you could almost use like a knitting needle or something, but it hooks on the side because it's got the thread of the bolt. Anyway, they're very good for drawing buildings. So if you did for landscape and buildings, he does a lot of buildings. Highly recommend him as a inspiration. And he's got a YouTube channel as well, and he does out and about videos, and he shows his kit too. Tom Hughes, he's local to me. Right, I'm seeing that edge needs to be a bit higher here. Okay. So Paul, I don't know if you're still watching, but what are you doing in Westbury? Are you doing a bit of train spotting? Is that how you appease Wes? I wonder. Right, I might try a little bit of... Do you think this is too many colours? You can just have a look at this. So this is raw umber. No, I think that's just too many colours. I'm going to try and stick with what I've got. So I'm just looking at, there's a sort of subtle kind of shading on the guitar which I'd quite like to represent. Haven't got exactly the right colours. Let's cut that in like that. They're really quite, a lot of those cubist pictures are very rough, aren't they, as well? So I'm not stressing too much about the details. It's good practice. Do you ever do abstract art, Brian? So I know your realism is really tight. Your I think it was a squash you did. I really like that on your Instagram. Okay, right. So and then this, I've got this not quite brown enough. Oh yeah, the tour was gorgeous. So you went train spotting, did you, Paul? Yeah, the tour is amazing. Did you go up it? Right, now I want to put the shade in here. I want to carry that round. Oh yes, yeah. I think it's just good to try everything, isn't it? You know, it all informs your. Now, apparently Picasso was a very accurate and good painter in the sort of classical style before. Now, I saw a few bits that he did, and I have to say I wasn't entirely convinced that he was as good as legend has it at What do you mean, Paul? Very rough? You talking about Glastonbury? Or are you talking about abstract? I quite like the way heading towards the blue is offsetting the yellow of the guitar, so I'm going to go with this and keep, you know, it's still quite earthy, but I'm going to go with that. And at some point soon I'm going to have to start doing some shading, some light and dark, and especially on these. Right, what colour should I make these then? They're white, aren't they? Let's have a look at the reference photo. Right. Oh yes. Yeah, very rough, very blowy up there, isn't it? I've been up there quite a few times. In various conditions. Okay, so let's move back. So that's what I'm focusing on now, and I'm looking at the fact that they are they've got a kind of ridge here which works as a divide, I think, and I'm going to go with the kind of whitey bluey colour. Let's try that. I wonder if I move this down a bit you might be able to see better my mixing. Is that better? Okay. Right, so let's see how that looks. Oh yeah. Okay, so they're kind of. Thank you, Brian. Yeah. I love that colour too, but I think it's all relative, isn't it? I think it stands out through contrast with that blue edge. That was lucky going for the greeny blue edge. Right, this is good because it's got these, they're settling back down a bit. They were a little bit too bright for my liking, she said, making them quite bright. That's right. I'm going to just this characteristic they have of a ridge. I'm going to pick out that, and then like the, let's get that darker section on. Yeah, okay. I might need to tone these down later. But one of the things I really like about these is the rhythm of them being in a 3, these pegs. I think that in itself is a feature. So I'm going to get them in. But I think I will need to tone them down a bit. We'll see how they look. If you're doing realistic realistic oil painting, getting the background in is a really important thing for setting the rest of it forward. Okay, so I might use some of that on here actually as the lighter edge. So just on this guitar at the back, this echo of the guitar, and start to put a bit more colour in, and I'm going to go for a darker, I'm just darkening my blue with burnt umber. There we go, that's nice. So make that front one pop forward. And if you do any drawing, Cubism drawing is very good to, you know, it's less messy obviously than oil. It's quite good to explore the different sort of marks, different sort of hatching and things that you can do, because they did sort of flatten these shapes, you know, treating them as abstract shapes. Right, pick out that edge. So if you do it with drawing, you can experiment with like stippling and other effects. Right, so I'm going to go a bit more green down here. And I need to really start thinking more about the balance of the tones, because I'm slightly losing the plot. Right, I'm just going to switch over to the guitar reference photo so I can see the shape of the bottom of the guitar. Okay, let's just put that on there for a second. So, right, need to get that up a little bit, I think. There we go, and then I'm going to use a greeny colour here, take that round there. So I'm making more of a deal of the, I'm just going in here. There we go. Now I want to do a little bit more of that sense. I like the way Picasso did some of these edges. They were like they were overlapping, and I thought that was very good. So I might do that actually with wiping rather than dark. So I'm just going to wipe that edge a bit by way of shading there, and I'm going to do the same here. And I suppose that's probably where the fact that this, you know, it's a lucky accident that this canvas is, yeah, and I can do that on here as well. This canvas is slightly glossy, the gesso, yeah, that's better, right. Now I'm going to try and maybe simplify a little bit. Go in here, pick out that shape. These, they're not, they look really blue on my screen. I don't know. They're not as blue as they look a kind of royal blue the way you've got them. Let's see if I can bring them. Oh, that's just my camera. They're a kind of grey blue. I'll post it later. But right, and then this music. Let's see. Right, it feels a bit chaotic. I think there's too much contrast up here. I'm going to lose that. Let's put that up there. Whoops. I'm just going to reduce some of the contrast in the background because I think it's rather eye-catching and taking away from the guitar. And then I will put in some of that shading. Right. Let's go for. Maybe if I turn this slightly, and let's go there. I can see the colours a bit better. Right. Plan. And in a minute I'm going to start using some white, and hopefully that will then change the whole thing a little bit. Get those shapes. I'm using, I've got 3 cameras, so I had to move, I'm using my PC webcam on my face because of the lip syncing was so bad last week. So I've got the lip syncing camera is actually here now. This is my mobile phone, and I use something called IV cam to turn to make the mobile phone function as a camera. Do you know what? I just don't like this. I'm going to lose that, I think. Off with its head. I might let it stay down there. That's better. I prefer that. It was arguing too much with this here. There we are, that's better. Right, but I do like this contrast. I might see if I can get that darker. So sorry, Brian, I use, Papa Look though is my preferred main camera because you can manually focus it, and therefore I was just struggling with the focusing and I couldn't sort of really reliably switch it off with this one, and it was tracking my hand. Okay, and then I think I might, let's see what colour those actually are, those handles on the pegs. Put it right up close. Oh, they've got metal around them. Kind of grey. I might use this. I might use this same colour. And that's brown. There on that. Okay. Just popped up. Oh. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Paul. It's lovely to see you. Yeah, I look forward very much to catching up with you, and I'm so pleased if you can bear to come back on the 22nd. But I will be streaming that talk. So Brian, Paul is referring to on the 22nd of May, I will be at the gallery at the exhibition that Paul's just been to see, and I'm giving a talk, and I will make that will be my live stream. So I'm going to be talking about body image through the eyes of an artist, because I do a lot of life drawing. That's something I found a bit difficult in Dubai, was that they weren't allowed to do life drawing. So I think in the Philippines, I don't know what the attitude is in the Philippines towards life drawing, but certainly in the UK, it's it's generally seen as a good thing. And it's certainly part of my practice. So while I was in Dubai, I didn't do it. There were people who did classes where they had a model in kind of swimwear. So, but I just felt I really missed. Right, now I want to get that curve right. Even though this is a background guitar, I don't think that curve is quite right. It's fine. Right, let's get that right. blend that. Use that dark edge. Okay. Bye, Paul. Oh, they are okay. The Philippines, yeah, good. I thought they would be. Pretty open to most things in the Philippines, aren't they? If the Filipinos that I knew were anything to go by, they were very wonderful. It's the only word for it. Wonderfully uninhibited, in fact. Joyful as well. I found the Filipino people that I knew in Dubai were very keen on just having fun. You know, they really knew how to have fun. English people aren't so good at having fun. Some of us can, but yeah, we have a bit of a... It's in our genetic makeup. We're all right with a dry humour. That's probably our national stereotype. Okay, now I'm bothered that this blue looks really bad on the... That looks like it's really jumping out on the camera. You just have to take my word for it, and I will post it later. Now I'm going to try and pick out this shape a little bit more and kill that off there. Shall I be as cliched as to put a treble clef in? Probably not. Right, let's have a look at Picasso, see what I can take from that and bring that back. Okay, so I've got too many colours, number one problem. I don't have the strings of the guitar. I haven't really shown it from the side apart from these knobs and that. And I don't think I've got enough variety in terms of the scale of the background. These are all a bit samey. No, I don't know any Filipino painters, apart from you, Brian. You're the only one I know. Is there people you'd recommend? I'm thinking maybe dark, and maybe I should go darker here. Oh, but then they won't stand out. Right, maybe if I went darker this side. I might darken this lot down a bit while we chat. That would be quite mindless. Okay, do you know what as well? Talking of streaming, thank you to everybody who's watching, because this is the most people I've ever had watching me doing this particular stream. My Soggy Rabbit live show had more watchers, but I really appreciate you watching, and I really appreciate, I know Paul's gone now, but Paul and Brian, you've been, and yesterday, you've been such constant, and Dave, constant support, and it's really great in there bouncing off. So I'm going to get some more light now. I'm going to go in with the, I've got flake white here, so it's not too strong. See if you can, now where did I have the, I'll make that big so you can see me watch it, you can see me. Okay, right, let's just move my palette in front there. Okay, so I'm using a little bit of a medium. I've got a slightly dirty brush which I'm happy with because I don't want it to be too bright, but as I said, this is flake white and it's a lovely white. Again, this is Wallace Seymour, which came highly recommended. Right, so let's see how that plays out. Let's shrink that down. Right, now looking at the Picasso, I want to do a bit of modelling. So I'm just going to go in this left side for a little bit just to see. Okay, Right, so I'm going to use that white there to define the edge of this shape here, there, and pick out contrast now with the edge of the guitar. So I'll make that even stronger, like that. And I'm going to go, I know the one we're looking at doesn't have music, but I'm sure I've seen cubist pictures with music. Okay, right, Juan Luna, Felix, oh my goodness. Yes, okay, thank you, that's fantastic. Right, I might write those down. Okay, Juan. Hidalgo and Fernando. Are they alive? Are they living painters, or are these okay. While I wait for your answer. Right, now I need that gadget really. Where's my piece of paper? Let's see if I can. Should I do that or should I do it as freehand? Okay, I'm just doing the lines between the strings freehand. Oh, in the 1800s, right. Okay. I think it's so great to look back. I think we have this kind of human nature to assume that your civilization is the best civilization or the most advanced. And looking back at the art of previous generations, really, it's impossible to ignore how advanced they were. And I think in many ways they had more time, or more value was put on art apprenticeship. So, you know, that, I mean, I don't know if it was the same in the Philippines, but certainly in Europe, the art apprenticeship was a definite thing. Right, I'm going to try mixing that white with a little bit of ochre, so that I can lighten a little bit more some other. There. And towards the end, won the gold medal on the art. Oh! Okay, so they travelled and competed on the international. Right, well, I will look them up after my stream. Thank you. I'm tempted to go. I can't really. Oh, I know. I can go in light on the. Right, I can do this neck bit now. So let's have a look at the guitar neck. And that. Right, I wonder if I can zoom in. I'm going to go and zoom in on that for a second and have a close-up look at that neck. There. Right. So it's got white horizontals. So let's get my paintbrush all loaded up. Oh, thank you, Brian. That would be amazing. Do you know, you read my mind. You read my mind. I was thinking that would be so cool. So thank you. Okay. Right. Let's go. Right now. Right, I'm going to go in with the white there and there. I think I need a thinner brush. If I had a little finer brush, I've got like a detail brush because this is so small. Let's have a look. Here we go. Now Dave, I don't know if you're still watching, but Dave gave me these. These are beautiful pony hair. And who would have thought that pony hair was such a great, that will be ideal for this situation. So now that I've got white on these, they are quite, they will obliterate stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to very slightly darken this background here, so that when I put those pegs on the sides, they will come forward. Otherwise, I think they won't be quite contrasty enough. So I'm just going to go in with a little bit of warm brown here. Yep, just going to darken that a bit, not a lot. To get the to set that neck forward, and we've got an echo of a neck up here as well. Okay, and the same here. Okay, now I think if I go in with the whites on that, using the pony hair brush, which is finer, and I'll make sure it's well loaded. So when you're doing your kind of highlights, you need to be you can use quite a well-loaded brush. Okay, so that's standing out nicely, partly because this white is quite opaque and thick. Oh, Brian, I'm so happy you're going to send me that. Thank you so much. Right. Oh, they're sitting nicely on top. You can see that there. Right. And then they track inside, don't they? So let's put them in there. Hopefully that will. Capture the guitariness. And there's another one across the neck, which is purish white. I'm going to go in with undiluted. I'm just going to do this freehand. There. Oh, I like those frets. Right, so I might just do. Now I feel as though I should really count the frets, but we're moving from Cubism to Impressionism. I'm doing an impression of frets. Right, now I'm going to dull that down because I don't want it to stand out, and just tidy up this edge here. Whoops. This brush is fabulous. It really holds the paint nicely. Okay, and then I'm just going to go on. I use the other brush, which is holding more white paint. Where is it? Here we are. Okay, let's put some more lights and darks in. Give these things a sense of edge, like those overlapping sheets. Do that one. Once the white goes on, it really dominates the pool. Oh, yesterday, right, Colette. Oh, thank you, yesterday. I'm so happy. I think, unfortunately, it doesn't really. The picture doesn't show very well on here. I'm so happy you joined me. Thank you so much. It was really lovely to see you, and yeah, well, I hope those good for filling those boxes. I hope that leaves you with a nice bit of clear space as well. That's always a nice reward, isn't it? So I'll see you on Instagram. Yeah, and thank you. And your video was amazing too. Right, I'm going to get this, pick this line out a bit more of this guitar, which is sitting behind that echo. There, and I'm just trying to slightly flatten that shape. And I've got an eye on the time. And catch that, again, that edge shape there. So it's more like pattern design. And I was always, I was very happy to learn when I was learning, more life drawing kind of stuff. It's been very interesting to learn that advanced life drawing people do quite a lot of pattern design, particularly with their shadows. It really is a thing. I kind of try and think of being as true to the original as I can. Right, I don't like this shape that's emerging here. Let's come back a bit. Right, and I think it's quite unhomogeneous, so I'm going to use a little bit of this yellow. This is a bit of the guitar neck, so I'm going to use a little bit of this yellow across in some other areas just to try and tie it together a bit. And I think I need to darken this hole here as well. I need to get that really dark, so I'll get that in first. Go. Now it's kind of drier. Before that was really, really wet, but because I've done the paint, I've used medium and okay, and I'm going to model. Well, it's drying really quickly, so the medium speeds up the drying time. I quite like to do like on the arm of the Picasso, so I screwed that up now. Right, like the arm there, like her arm has got a definite rendered colour, hasn't it? So I'm going to try and make the arm on the pegs. I'm going to use that same, so I'm going to try and give them a bit of a sense of form. Like that, to try and make them a bit more 3D. And there, and then I'm going to even do a lighter one as well. I feel as though I should actually have brought the guitar in, and then I could have had a better look at it. Right, so let's get some of that yellow ochre into the background. Got 20 more minutes. So I'm going to lift that up so you can see me wash my brush. Right. Go. That's just zest it in there, and paper towel just to clean off some of that white, because I don't really want too much in. And I'm going to make it slightly more dilute. I don't really want it to compete with this guitar, but I feel as though, oh, that's it. I just need a little bit more of that yellow, which we both like so much, Brian. And it's more opaque. It's just giving the those panels a bit more solidity, and yeah, just harmonising them a little bit more with the guitar. Where can I go? Oh, and I might break this, then that would be good. I don't like this. So that bit there is guitar, and then under here I want it to be something different. Not too contrasty, because I don't want to draw the eye away from that. Maybe, I know, maybe I need some more square edges. It's really not, that section really isn't working. Let's try, that's interesting. So looking close up at the Picasso, some little lines in there. That's her face. But he has used some drawing lines. So, now there's a bit of texture around here. What was I doing? Oh yeah, I was going to break this up. So I want to have more like this, but down here. I just want to cut those. I'm going to go for that. I just want to cut up that shape, that thing, that line was really bad. Okay, that seemed to work, so I'll do a bit more of that. Now, too much of a good thing. I'm going to do that here as well. Right, where else? Quite like this bit. Now this bit here needs a bit of thought. It's very flat. Yeah. I'm just going to make that darker, but I'm going to keep it rather on the green side. I think I might make that edge. That edge is annoying me too. Right, let's go for a bit of a dark. I need some more straight lines in here. Got too many curves, I think, on the background. I'm going to cut in like that. Now we have on the guitar, right, I'm just going to sort out my reference photo because that's I mucked it up to show the detail. So let's go a bit bigger. There we are. Sorry, don't know what happened there. Right, that's better. Okay, so you can see now there the whole thing, and yeah, I like this, so I'm going to go a bit more with the white. I'm going to go with some white up here and some white up here, just to kind of do like, in fact, he's almost got a bit of a diagonal thing, so I think maybe some whites up here, and I think I need some smaller sections. So next to the lady's head, the girl's head, there are some much smaller sections. So I will first go in and just put in some smaller sections like that, and it's quite easy. You can just put the edges on and then blend. I'm mixing burnt umber and right, and burnt umber and black. They're not even completed, these shapes, sometimes. They're just like a hint. And then I'll go in with the white and try and lighten some of this. Let's go, where am I going to put some more? So I'm looking at the area behind her head and just trying to do some of that sort of thing here. Just make it smaller, make the I'm actually going to lose that edge even. Not sure that's well advised, but we'll see. And then yeah, more detail. Probably do too much. Now that to me that seems to be working. So what I'll probably do is just overkill it now. But I'm seeing quite a lot of parallel lines in that background as well. Try and flatten that. Okay, so I'm just going to have one last look at the guitar close up in order to check the strings and stuff. Sorry, I've gone. Right. I'm just going to move that down. There we are. Right. Now we can see. So it's got the white stuff going on at the back there. Zoom in. To come off it. Okay, down. Okay, here we go. Right. Look at that. So I've got 3 lines of white that I need to draw across. That's going to be fun. I might generalise those a little bit. See if I've got my pony hairbrush. We've got 2. Okay, and then for the very fine lines, I don't know, for the strings, I'm not sure I'm actually going to do those. What do you think? I could possibly do them with the masking. Let's have a go. I'm just going to do a hint of the strings and not all of them, so they connect up because it's wet. So normally I probably would do this on dry. See if that's come off. No, I haven't. Not daring to be bold enough. There we go. There's a tiny hint of a string. Don't know if you can even see that. I'll go in close. So I'm masking with this, making sure it's running parallel to the neck. So I'm just kind of doing where the light catches the strings. Doesn't matter if they're broken because the light would catch them in a broken way. That's okay. That looks vaguely stringy. I think Picasso was quite literal in some of his. Brian, how many strings has a guitar got? 6, I guess, because there are 6 pegs, 3 pegs each side. Okay, I'm not going to do 6 though. Getting a bit of a mess there. Oh, that's why I'm in a mess, because my sheet is dirty. Let's get a clean edge. Just tear a bit off my palette. Right, so I've got some more paper to mask with. Six. Thanks. Okay. Thank you. Right, I just need the tiniest hint of number 6 there. For the guitar playing purist. And so now I'm going to get the white. Really? Are you quite avid with your guitar playing? At least you play. Impressive. What sort of style guitar do you play? I've got 2 guitar playing children, but only one actively learning. I do love the guitar. Right. Oh, I'll come back out so you can see what I'm doing. Sorry. Out. Okay. Right. When I post, I will post this later on Instagram, and you'll see. I hope that it's not as strange as it looks on here. It looks very. Yeah, the colours are much more harmonious on the painting, I think. I'll get that camera angle. Right, well, you must go for it though. You must go for it on the guitar, otherwise you wouldn't break the strings. I expect it's probably like skiing. If you don't fall over, that means you're not trying hard enough. And I expect probably with the guitar, if you don't break the strings, you're probably not going for it enough anyway. I thoroughly approve of broken strings. It looks very pretty. What, this painting? Thank you. Right. Let's see if there's anything obvious. I still feel I need a little bit more of that yellow. We've got 5 more minutes. Brian, I haven't done you a shout out this week. I'll do you 2 next week. I don't know if you saw the line drawing shout out that I did for Paul's son Phoenix last week. I'll have to think of something. Right, let's get a bit of that yellow in here. I like the yellow against the blue. So this blue here seems to set off the yellow of the guitar, and equally I like the way the yellow here sets off that blue. Might go for it a little bit more under here as well, for the same. I think. Oh, and this neck as well was a bit more, had a bit more character to it than I've got in there. Right, anything else obvious missing? What can you see? What do I need to do? I think we've got there's some detailed colour. There's a pattern there, and I've got it rather black. I wonder if I could try and go in with the pony again. Try and get a little bit of light catching that edge. There. What are you going to be up to then later, Brian? I don't know what time it is in the Philippines now. It's evening here, although because it's the summer it's still pretty light. Let's tidy that up. I've got some soggy rabbit drawings to do, so I'm going to be doing those. I think I've got two big ones, two A3 drawings of soft toys. So I do, as you know, soft toy portraits I need to look at. You're sleeping. Oh, what time is it? Is it really late? Have you been working hard? Oh my goodness. Thank you for staying up so late. I'm really not, I don't feel as though I've justified your lateness. But anyway, I hope you had fun. I hope you liked this. And I hope everyone who's watching has enjoyed this. I've really, really enjoyed it. Hats off to Picasso. So just to summarise, this is here's the inspiration. Picasso's Girl with a Mandolin, and that's where I've got to sort that out here. There we are. See if I can just sort this reference photo up so that I can show you last of all Picasso's beautiful woman there. Yeah, I haven't been a big fan of Picasso, but I have to say, if you Google Picasso, it is amazing how many different styles he had. So if your Filipino artists were in Spain in the late 1800s, I don't know, they might have met Picasso. I think Picasso was, I don't know what his dates were, but this Picasso was 1910. Right, so I think I'm going to call it a day with this picture. In the Philippines tomorrow. Oh, you doing something for tomorrow? Now, our Mother's Day is in, oh, I can't remember when Mother's Day is, and I just know Father's Day is in June. I try not to do any planning for Mother's Day. Right. Okay, well, enjoy your Mother's Day. And thanks so much for watching. Thanks to everyone who's watching. It's really great. I can see I've got a few viewers and I really appreciate it. So sending you all lots of love and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Oh right, okay. I wonder if they would have been influenced by each other. When I look forward to seeing those. Thank you so much. If you send them on Instagram, then it'd be very nice to watch. Oh, well, happy Mother's Day to your mum. I hope she has a great day. I bet you're going to look after her very nicely. You seem like a very caring person. Oh, is she? For a holiday? So you all, it sounds like your family is quite Dubai. You do a lot in Dubai then. Nice. I'll just wait for your answer because I want to see your answer before I sign off. I know what I can do. I've got the one little bit of this picture is bothering me. I can sort that out while I wait. See if I can use an existing dirty brush. I just want to sort this edge here. and put a bit more brown on it. Thank you. Oh, thank you so much, Brian. Good night. Sleep well. And it was really lovely to see you again. I hope to see you next week. Next week we're going to be doing feet. And have a lovely time with your mum. Okay. Mwah. See you. Bye.